So sorry, I got disconnected. So sorry I got disconnected. So I'm trying with my phone now. I'm trying with my phone now. So I'd like to talk about the changes that is happening as summer approaches in the workforce. Yeah, quite a few caregivers and I have spoken, and they're really concerned. A nurse, I spoke to two nurses also that we were just talking casually and talking about how, hot it gets here in Arizona in the summer months. And they were both concerned of the, thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. So they were both concerned that the hours already dropping so fast, the the changes for the hospitals, they're not having the amount of admission they have during the winter months. And as it gets warmer here, the census is going down. And when the census goes down, then their shift is cut or the shift is canceled or they go on call for the hospital. Now, for the agency, the hours are cut for the caregiver because the caregiver, the agency hasn't got the staff. The agency hasn't gotten the staff to support keeping caregivers out there. So this is nothing new here in Arizona. This is nothing new. This is nothing new here in Arizona. This is nothing here in Arizona. I I've seen it for years where in the summertime the workload has decreased and the in you'll get 2 or 3 days a week if you work for the agency. If you work for a hospital, you'll get on-call shifts. So how do we cope? How do we cope with that? Because it brings a lot of changes financially to the family. It brings a lot of changes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you come in, please like. As you come in, please like and share. So it brings a lot of changes in the family. And also, the other issue is not only does the census decrease because of low admission, but if you are a private employee that hires caregivers, nursing assistants, then the summer months is coming up. It's graduation season. Grandkids are getting ready to leave college. Other kids are getting ready to leave school. So that allows you to cut back on the caregiver in the home because now you have the support. So it takes it's a broad it's a broad scope and a ripple effect, I should say. It has in certain fields, the nursing profession, the teaching profession. For teachers who are going off for the summer, they're able now to manage their family a little better because they're home. Because they're home. So the caregiver or the nurse loses the amount of income they make. They lose the amount of income they make because they have to do a shift. So the question is, Do we prepare? Do we prepare for this ahead of time? Do we prepare for this ahead of time? And welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. Do we prepare for this ahead of time? And now that it's tax season, and there are those that are going to receive a refund, is that something that you have planned that, okay, so I have a decrease in salary. Hi, Mumfre's Kitchen. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. Is there a plan? If you have experienced this over the years and this is not something new for you, how do you plan? How do you plan for the summer months when the hours are decreasing in the summer months for the healthcare profession and the education profession? How do you prepare? With the education profession, with teachers, I think I'm told allegedly that teachers still get paid during the summer months. But for the nurses and caregivers and nursing assistants who this affects more greatly, how do you prepare? Do you get a second job? Do you get a second job? And like and share, invite your friends over, please, those that are on. So do you prepare? Do you prepare in advance for this drop in income? And how does it affect your family? The kids are home. You can't have them in the house all summer because that will just drive, I know for me, it drove me nuts. I always had to have something planned for the kids for the summer months. Always had plans for the kids. So again, how do you cope? How do you cope when your hours have decreased on the job? How do you cope? When your hours have decreased on the job, how do you cope? So some of the suggestion I would lend is that look into, again, our community resources are so important when we have a decrease in salary. You still have your job, but instead of taking on $10, you're now taking on probably $4. So then you have to do a lot of planning, have to cut back on a lot of things, and using community resources, using your community pools for those of you who live in hot weather like I do and don't have a pool at home, using your community pool. Thank God here in Arizona, everywhere that is rental has pools, and the persons who has a home and have no pool, there's a community pool that is well kept and it's clean and it's inspected. So use your community pool, use your library, take the kids to the library. Also here we have splash pads, which is, it's like a water fountain with a protective pad. Okay, thank you for hanging on there with me. I can't turn the phone down, and I'm using the same phone. So as I was saying, when we have a decrease in salary, we have to really be intentional about our spending, and also be intentional about keeping the kids active for the summer. So planning ahead of time, if we have a job that we know the hours decrease in the summertime, planning ahead of time, cutting back early, especially it seems as if the time is just moving so fast. The holidays are just past. So probably as far back as the holiday, spending a little less. Instead of buying 4 or 5 toys for the children during the holidays, we buy one, you know, because the summer months are very, very difficult here in my state. The jobs, the hours decrease, it seems, across the board. And this is the reason why I'm talking about this, because I was having brunch on Sunday, and the waiter said to me, "This place is so packed and I feel so good, but I'm nervous because we're getting so hot." So I said to him, "Talk about that with me." And he said, people don't eat out as much in the summer. They rather stay home and have a light lunch and a salad, and then I have no work. And then I was talking to a caregiver and a nurse, a friend of mine who has a family member that's a nurse, and the person said to me, she's on call. The person, "Thanks for coming in, thanks for coming in, thanks for liking, I appreciate it, share it out, please." And do all the, "Hi, Sharon, welcome, 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 thanks for coming in, thanks for coming in, welcome." So when the hours decrease on the job, the bills don't decrease. The bills does not decrease. So planning is so important. Planning ahead, using our tax return wisely, using our community services, our community programs. For those of us who are affiliated with a church, most churches have Vacation Bible School, and it's called Vacation Bible School because they're churches, but it's not a religious base. It's teaching the kids the love of God and the love of fellow men, and the activities there, they have a lot of interactive activities. They're placed in age-related groups with certified counselors, trained counselors, I should say, that the church makes sure that these people are able and have the skills and the ability to take care of your children. And the programs are not just geared for church family. The programs that, "Hi, Angela, welcome, 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 welcome. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Remember to like." So even though it's church based, it's programmed to bring your children in to a stable and structured environment where they have the kids for a certain amount of hours. And I would suggest and encourage you, if you have small children and your work hours has cut back because of the summer month or because of the specific profession you're in, reach out to your church group. And even if you don't attend church and there's a church in your area, believe me, they'll be so happy to get your kids, because meals are provided for the kids. It depends on what time they start. At my church, sometimes they start at 10 and they go on until 2 or 3, and the kids are served breakfast and snacks. And so that's a good resource for caregivers and nurses who have children at home and your hours are being cut because of low census, or your hours are being cut again because the agencies does not have the clientele to support you working 4 or 5 days a week, 12 hours or 8 hours. So it affects the family and it affects the pocketbook. But if we plan ahead of time, if we do good planning ahead of time, it can balance out. Or do we take a part-time job during this break, because you still have your job. You still have your job. It's just that the hours are decreased. So, do you take a part time job somewhere that has a high flow of people? How do you go about balancing decreasing work hours? Go ahead and share in the chat. Let's have a dialogue. How do you balance decreasing work hours? Do you use your vacation time to assist? If, say, when I was working, I saved my vacation time. I was blessed on my job in New York at the hospital. We got 4 weeks, 4 weeks vacation. We can't take the 4 weeks all at once unless we have a family emergency, but I would save my vacation time. I would save my vacation time for when the census is low. I worked in the emergency room. So we have low census, but we're putting critical care areas to work when our census, like we would go on med surge, or we will go on the heart floor where they need experienced, skilled workers. They would move us to those areas. I would do peds ICU because, we get everything coming in the emergency room. So when you have a wide experience, you can shift around. You can shift around because if the regular floor has low census, maybe if you work in a facility that has the 3-tier, the rehab, the nursing home, and the skill, maybe skill is packed. Or maybe the nursing home is packed and you could pick up some overtime there. So knowing how to navigate that, and having a good relationship with your supervisor will help you to get extra hours somewhere. Or if someone wants to go on vacation and your shift is cut, you can say, I'll work for you. Because most places, especially in a hospital, you can work for someone who wants time off. So that's another way in keeping your hours, is to work for people who wants time off, work for people who, they have been working for the company for years and they have all these hours stacked and they want to go. When they go, you have that slot that you can fill in for them. Okay. The other thing, guys, that I spoke about when I came on earlier before my computer it just died on me. The other thing I spoke about, because this is hot topics. This evening is hot topics. We're just going to talk about things that we're seeing in the media, things that, changes that is happening. So the other topic I'd like to address is, I don't know how much of you have seen the incident on the airline where it's alleged that airline staff member asked a pregnant mom with 2 toddlers that really, they had popcorn for snack, and I saw the pictures and it was a little much on the floor, but it's alleged that the staff instructed, allegedly, the mom to clean the area that the kid's dirty. Now, the allegation is that the mom was pregnant. So, have any of you guys seen that? The mom was pregnant, and the staff member for the airline asked her to clean the mess her children made. How do you all feel about, guys in the chat? How do you all feel about that? If you're traveling on an airline and you give your kids a snack and they mess up the floor, how would you deal with someone saying to you, I would like you to clean this up? Your kids did this. Now remember, on the airlines, They have certain times where they come around and give you a snack. And when they give the snack, they come back and they pick up the receptacle that the snack came in. So then they have designated time where they keep the plane clean. Now it's alleged that this staff member thought that the popcorn on the floor was a danger, it was a hazard. So she asks the mom to clean it up. She asked the mom to clean it up. How do you feel about that? You know, I had toddlers and I traveled with them. But in those times with our children, when you travel on an airline, it wasn't as casual as it is now. It wasn't as casual as it is now. So when we traveled on an airline, because we're dressed, and then also the airline served full breakfast, full lunch, it depends on the length of your flight. So there was no need to take so much snacks on the airline because they served it. So could this make it a little more difficult for people traveling with toddlers or other children to provide snacks that are appropriate, and I'll use that word, for traveling? Or should the mother know you don't take popcorn on an airline with toddler? How do you feel about that? I am, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Remember to like as you enter. I am thinking that the airline staff member probably did not notice that the mother was pregnant. Along with having these two children, she was also pregnant. Is it possible that she napped off and didn't realize how the kids were doing, the plane, how they were just pouring the popcorn all over? Could it be that the staff member for the airline wasn't tactful enough to draw the mom's attention to the fact that the kids made a mess? It's so hard to figure out what happened, but could the airline have managed it a little better? Could the mother have taken a better snack for the children? It's such a difficult thing to balance. What is appropriate and what is not appropriate? I know naturally when I had small children, when I take them out, wherever we go and they make a mess, it's just a natural instinct for me to pick up after them. But I'm thinking she's alleged to be pregnant. So I'm thinking maybe she dozed off. Maybe she dozed off and didn't realize the mess the kids made. Could it be that when the staff saw it, could it be that she got flustered and the way she approached the mom felt offended, so she put it out? The company, someone says the company should have a cleaning staff. And they do. They do have a cleaning staff. Remember, when you fly on an airline, they have to get to a certain altitude before they serve snacks. And after they serve the snacks, they do come around and pick up. And I must say, as a diabetic, I travel with snacks. And I have had time where I travel with a sandwich and I'm finished with it and I don't want to put that wrapper back in my pocketbook, and I ring the bell and I call for an assistant. And when she comes, I said, could you dispose of this for me too? This is why I'm thinking that maybe the mother dozed off Maybe she dozed off and didn't realize, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, that maybe she dozed off and didn't realize that the child or children made such a mess because, probably she didn't look down to see that the children made such a mess. And again, could it be that the airline staff member, the approach she took, offended the mom? Because I travel a lot and they can get very, very, very antsy on airlines. If they ask you to move, you have to move right away. On some airlines, you have to move right away. Otherwise, they says, could you sit? I've seen people get up just to stretch or go to the bathroom. Sit down. Could it be? Karen Thomas, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. You're never late. You're always welcome. You're never late. You're always welcome. So, could it be the approach? Because, sometimes it's not what we say. And this goes for all spheres of our life, because sometimes I do get that too, where I come off a little harsh. We all get in that mode sometimes where we come off a little bit. What we intend to say and how we say it did not match. So that the way, could it be that the way she was spoken to? Could it be that the way she was spoken to, she felt offended? Could it be that she felt offended the way she was spoken to? Because I know when we're tactful, we get so much done. We get so much done. So could it be that it could be approached a little better? From the article and the picture I saw, it said that the mom was pregnant and she was asked to pick it up, bend down and pick it up. So could it be that if she felt that listen, the way she spoke to me, and could it be that she felt that she ordered her to do it? Why it became public? Okay, you would feel offended. So it's an open topic tonight. It's hot topic. So Karen, I spoke about losing hours as a caregiver or working in a hospital where the census is going down and we're losing our hours, and how do we cope as a family? And now I'm talking about the headline in the news of the mom that was allegedly asked to clean up after her children on a flight. She was asked to clean up after the children. Angela Lewis, welcome. She was asked to clean up after the staff on the airline saw she fed her kids popcorn and it was all over the floor, and she was asked to clean it. She was asked to clean it. So I'm saying, how would you feel if you're on a flight and you are asked to clean up after your kids? Or is it our responsibility as parents to have, when we're traveling on an airline, to have snacks that are not going to fall all over the place for our children? Since the airline no longer serve a full meal, maybe the flight was long and she just grabbed a snack, which was popcorn. It's alleged that it's popcorn and it's all over the place. And it's also alleged, the staff member said in the article, that it was a hazard because they have to walk back and forth on the plane. Other passengers have to walk back and forth, and it was a hazard. Someone could trip on it. So she asked the mother. Someone said that they would feel offended if they were asked. But my rebuttal to that is, if you were asked in a way that is appropriate and tactful, would you still feel offended? And then again, the other side of it is, did the staff member of the airline realize that she was pregnant? So I'm thinking she has two toddlers. She's flying. Maybe she got up early, had to drive to the airport. Maybe she dozed off and didn't even realize the kids made a mess. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I would clean it up. I would, well, again, as mothers, I know when I was raising my children, if I give them a snack wherever they are, church, at the movies, flying on the aircraft, I would clean up immediately after them and say, let me have that. Give me that. You're finished with it? And this is why I'm wondering if she dozed off and didn't realize that the children made such a mess. And the attendant, could it be that she wasn't tactful enough to her why she made it so public? Someone is saying, I would clean it up for peace sake. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. But nowadays, everything is shared. Everything is shared. Nowadays, everything is shared. I was someplace the other day, and it was a public place where I had to do a transaction. And I saw somebody took up their phone on the line waiting for me to finish, and right away I canceled the transaction. And I went to the back of the line and wait until the person left. Because I'm like, why would he be videoing me? I was at an ATM. And I'm like, why would he be videoing me at an ATM? So right away I canceled the transaction and I went to the back of the line until the person that was videoing, maybe they were videoing, taking a selfie of themselves. I don't know. But I don't want that out there. It seems as if we have lost, and what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to let things go. It seems as if we have lost the ability to let things go. Everything has to go on social media. Could it be held? Could it be done differently? Because I said something else in another video when I was talking about video and clients. Okay. There's someone that's saying they're in, and I know it's difficult to deal with us. Well, I wouldn't say us, because when I go on the plane, I I know how hypersensitive everyone is. So I'm really calm. As a matter of fact, I go to sleep. Literally, just go to sleep through my flight. But someone is saying in the chat that, and we don't know the full story, and that's why I'm using the word alleged. It's just what I read. We don't know the full story, but I thought it would be an interesting hot topic, you know. So we don't know the full story, and there's someone that's saying in the chat that, they work in the travel industry, and it's very, very difficult to deal with some people. I see it every day, every time I travel. They're so difficult. You say, put on your seatbelt, and they're sitting there like they're clueless. You say, put your chair up, and they're sitting there like they're clueless. So I can't imagine. And you're in a structured environment, you're on a plane, you have to deal with 200-300 people at the same time. I can understand, because I work in the service industry. Serving people is the hardest job, I think. When you have to interact with people in the service industry and the different attitudes, and they're tired and they're frustrated, and you're tired and you're frustrated, it's very difficult. Very, very difficult. This is why, before, and I love to go back before, because before social media, we solve problems. We solve problems easy. Now it's, let's put it out there. Let's put it out there. Our problem solving skills have decreased because we depend on the public for it seems, for guidance and how we should feel and how we should react, because everyone is in an uproar now. This is a woman of very high status. So everyone is in an uproar. A mother is a mother is a mother. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you're in. A mother is a mother is a mother. And working, the staff member saw what she seemed to be a danger in having popcorn just all over the floor like that. Yes, yes. And someone is saying that they go through so much behind the scene that we as a traveler don't know. That they go through so much behind the scene. That's what someone in the chat is saying, that they go through so much as an airline employee behind the scene. Hi. Okay. Okay, that there's so much behind the scene that we don't know what they go through. Because she's pregnant, allegedly pregnant, I'm sort of giving the benefit of the doubt that she was asleep and she didn't see the mess the kids made. And then she got offended because she was told to clean up. The cleanup part is what have me. Was she told to clean up in an authoritative manner? Or was she assisted in the cleaning up? You see, because that makes the difference. That, and I understand from my viewer and my supporter that works on airline. I understand what you're saying. I do. And I empathize because, as I said, when we work with the public, we have to work with so much attitude and cultures and issues, and even our own attitudes. And I'm saying, could she have seen the instruction to clean up as offensive? Could she have seen that as offensive rather than saying, can I help you to clean up this? We don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. So as I said, tonight is hot topic, talking about the things that affect us in how we deal with each other, the things that affect us on the job, how during the summer months our life changes because the kids are out of school. The kids are out of school and everything changes. How do we deal with that? The price of gas. The price of gas. Do you know, just I don't know where you live, but here I notice the price of gas is going up. So there's so much stuff for us to deal with on a day-to-day basis. How do we plan for those? How do we plan for them? How do we plan so it doesn't affect our daily life? And this is the reason why I brought up the airline situation. How do we plan for these changes in our life? Because life is stressful. It seems as if the last 3 years, the stress is greater. So how do we deal with that? Okay, so someone is saying that some of the issues that we face is not taking accountability for our actions and our behaviors. And it's true. It's true. We have to take accountability. We have to, we should realize that, okay, so she's upset that my kids have popcorn over the floor, but asking me to pick it up is offensive too. But deal with it without the public. Then we wouldn't have to know about it. Just ask to speak to a supervisor when you deplane. They're there. And, I'm saying it because I'm not in the position, but I'm trying to also understand from the person that's working in the airline, and there's someone in the chat that works for airlines, and they're saying we go through so much. So on both parties, could we be a little more understanding of each other? And why everything has to go on social media? Why? I know when social media came out, I was excited. I want everybody in my family, and that's where mine started. I don't live close to my family. And I have a daughter that lives here in Arizona, but for the most part, I live alone. So when I go to church, when I go out socially, I would snap, and put it on Facebook because I'm saying at least my sister will see it and she'll show my mom that I'm doing good. Even though I talk to my mom, she'll see a picture of how I dress for church. So that's how I used to look at it. And I used to post. But as time went on, I don't want everybody knowing my business. And most of the time, well, majority of the time I go out with friends or I go out by myself to eat. I'm having such a good time. I don't need the phone. I don't need the phone because I'm having such a good time. I want to be present. Okay, here is another point that's being brought up. Can't say anything to anyone without them getting offended lately. And let me say this. It depends on what's going on, and nobody knows what's going on. You can't look at me and know my pain unless I share it with you. And I have been told, and I've been working on it. When I'm hurting, I'm hypersensitive, and I know that. And I'm working on it. But here is where I'm trying to find the balance. If when I'm hurting, I'm hypersensitive, I stay home. So is isolation good? You see? So that's what I'm telling myself. Oh, I'm not feeling myself today. I'm just going to stay home. So what's the balance? What's the balance in dealing with our hypersensitivity? What's the balance in dealing with it? And you see, this is how we have to clean out our refrigerator or personal refrigerator. We just have to take one at a time and clean the shelves out. Because when you have good people in your friend group or your family group that will say to you, hey, why are you so sensitive today? But again, with this mother, I'm still thinking, could it be that because she was pregnant, that she dozed off and didn't see the mess the children make? Because you and I know, grandparents, mothers, we know kids can just go crazy in 10 seconds. And I understand, Karen, I understand that working in such an intense, and it's not like, at work, when things get to you, you're working in in an office or in a hospital, we can say, I'm going off the floor for a minute. You're in an enclosed environment. So I can't imagine how difficult that can be, where you're trying, you calm this one down, and then you move up front, and they need to keep their seatbelt on, and here's this person off with their seatbelt, and then you have somebody calling you, I need some water. I can't imagine how that has to, in that type of space. It can't be easy working in that type of space where you can't just go to another room and take a breath for. I see you guys, the place where you sit, I always ask them, how do you do this? Just sit up straight like that when you're not moving. I get used to it, they tell me. So, I can imagine. And if you're having a bad day, or your coworker, and this is not justifying any behavior, we're just talking. I'm not taking any sides. I'm just trying to understand why everything has to go on social media to make such a big deal. Chances are this woman is going to lose her job. Chances are she's going to lose her job. And that's the first thing I said. I said, I can just imagine probably that mother felt offended, but this poor woman has lost her job, or man has lost his job. So, Karen, I can empathize with you being in such an structured environment where there's no outlet for you to go on whoosah and come back. So you go from one attitude to the other, from one incident to the other. But probably if it didn't go on social media, and probably if if a supervisor was called and addressed it, because when things go on social media, jobs get affected, companies get affected. So it's out on social media, so the company is going to want to appease the company is going to want to appease the person who's frustrated. And then the staff member gets penalized for something that, had it not been on the media, could it have been dealt with differently? What do you think, Karen? When something happened on the airline and the person speaks to you directly, does it make you feel better instead of, escalating? Again, thanks for watching. I know tonight is just hot topics. Tonight is just hot topics, just talking about the issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis and how to cope. So, food for thought. It's food for thought. Let us be always cognizant of how we treat people in the workplace and how we treat people in general. It's all a learning curve for us. We all are going through stress. We all have hang-ups. We all have our demons dealing with. But in this case, probably if we didn't use the phone, the outcome would be different. I'm just hypothesizing that. That could be the outcome would be different if there was a personal interaction between a supervisor and the staff and the person that felt offended. Now that it's out there, big probability this person's job is gone, because the airline has to appease the public now, because everybody, including me, is talking about it. And that's not what they want. So I just wanted to jump on tonight to talk about something different. And if you notice on my banner, I added Home Care Queen TV and vlogs, because I want to talk about these type of issues that people bring to me or that I see as some interest. So thanks for joining. Remember to sub, like, share. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.